If you've been searching for AI-powered content writers, you've probably seen plenty of ultimate tools. And that's where I was headed when I started this n8n automation. I've created several of them myself already, and they're pretty good, but they don't adapt to different types of content and for different types of companies. So a blog post for an AI agency is different than one for a mountain biking shop. And I wanted to create an auto writer that worked for both. And that's why I built something different. Think of it as the power of AI writing evolved. Imagine a system that's modular with specialized AI agents that handle every part of the process. They give you hidden insights, which provides unique content creation ideas. Instead of fixed prompts, it dynamically adapts, creating its own prompts to fit the topic. That's exactly what I've built in n8n. A modular, AI-driven framework that doesn't just generate articles. It's a structured, adaptable process for high-quality content creation at scale. My name is Wayne Ergel. I'm with webxco.ai, and I make n8n AI agents and automation systems that save money, reduce costs, and drive business growth. And thank you so much for watching this video. For those of you that have seen my other videos, you know that I have created a couple of workflows in n8n to help with this content writing process. The first was using data for SEO to do keyword research at a fraction of the cost of what you would pay for tools like SEMrush and Ahrefs. And I'll leave a link to that video in the description. I also created a workflow and a video on it on how to categorize and cluster keywords. So what we're doing is getting content ideas from categories and clusters, and I'll show you more about those in a moment. And so now I've taken it the next step, and now I have an AI content generation system, which is a modular system, and you'll see what I mean by that, that writes, refines, and adapts dynamically. So just a quick overview of what it is, and we'll get to the workflow. And I thought I would tell you a little bit about my thinking on why I did what I did. So as I said, I've done a couple of these AI writers. They work reasonably well, but they're sort of stuck and fixed with the prompting. And I took a step back and was like, what is the best process for writing an article? And then how many tasks can an AI agent handle at once, and how many should you give it? How do you get AI to write long form? That's always been a problem. AI starts writing and then it sort of runs out of steam. So how do you get it to write a 2,000 word article? And how do you prompt it to create different types of content for different types of companies? So as I mentioned earlier, if you're writing about mountain bike suspensions or ski waxing, those are one type of content. If you're writing about the latest advancements in AI technology, that's a different thing, and those are two different prompts. And then finally, is instructing an AI writer to write a 2,000 word article really utilizing the power of AI? So those are some of the questions I had in mind, and I'll get to the answers as I'm going along. But so what is the workflow? A specialized n8n agent handles every step in the writing process, and you'll see in a moment I mean literally every step. You have a dynamically generated writing style and tone based on top content, so we're searching the internet, pulling back the best content, and then creating a writing style and tone for that, which I'll talk about more in a minute, but that's a different approach. I'm also using AI to extract information from the top search results that they may not be covering. They're missing a point, and I'm using AI to find that, and that's what AI is good for. Better than me at it, and better than most humans. We're pulling back semantic analysis, so what are some common subtopics and related questions? Extracting keywords, secondary keywords, semantic and long tail. It includes dynamic prompting agent for the main body content. You get a consistent use of writing guidelines and target persona throughout the process. And then the final doc is uploaded, in my case right now, to a Google Drive folder and to a Google Doc. It could very easily be adapted to upload to WordPress, Webflow, or any other platform with an API. So just real quick, the platforms that are involved in this workflow. Of course, there's n8n. I use Airtable. Those of you who have seen my other videos on keyword research, I've switched the workflow to Airtable versus Google Sheets. I'll give you a link to the Airtable base, a template for that, so you can use that, but you could recreate it pretty easily. And basically it's the same template as I did in the Google Sheets. Tavily, I use that for doing search, so if you're not familiar with that, this is from their website. Empowering your AI applications with real-time accurate search results tailored for LLMs and RAG, which is right up our alley, right? Throughout, I use the OpenAI GPT-40 2024 1120 model. I found that model actually works better than the other ones from OpenAI for writing content. Stumbled across that. Of course, you could use any one that you want, but that's the one I use. Google Drive and Google Docs. So those are the different platforms that we're going to be coming across here in the workflow. All right, so let's get to the workflow. I'm going to give you an overview of it, and then I'll run it. We'll see the results and talk about it. So I'm going to bounce back and forth a little bit here between this is Whimsical, which is a great little platform for this stuff, and the actual n8n workflow, which is here. Blown up and adjusted a little bit. So when I said that I have an AI agent for every part of the process, I don't think I was exaggerating. So very quickly, I'll go through the workflow and then we'll come back into it a little bit further, or we'll come back to it in a little more detail. But so the first thing that happens is a trigger happens from Airtable. I'll show you that in a minute. Basically, you're setting a status to write article. That's sending the keyword and the title and a description of the article to this workflow. So once that happens, our very first agent is assigned the task of writing guidelines and determining hidden insights. So it does that by searching the web using Tavily for the top 5 results. Tavily goes and gets those, and then it sort of summarizes them, and that gives the AI the information to work with to generate keywords, these insights that I was talking about, and I will get to those in a minute. Semantic insights, keywords, questions, all of those kind of things that are used throughout the workflow. So here again, we're getting the information from Airtable. We're using it to generate guidelines and find hidden insights, if applicable, to help with our article. So the next step is to refine the working title. So back when I did the keyword research and then the content ideation, I generated a working title. So that was in the other workflows. Now I'm going to take that working title and create a new one, a more SEO optimized title. Right now it takes the old one, it takes the data from here and creates a title. This will be a great opportunity for the new n8n feature, Human in the Loop. So it could, instead of generating one title, it could generate 5 or 10 and use the Human in the Loop feature to let the human pick the right title and then go back into the workflow. But right now I just have this where it picks one, or where it writes one, and that is it. Then next part, create key takeaways with intro, bullet points, and outro. So I went in the order of the way an article reads. So I think key takeaways are one of the most important parts of an article. So I wanted to make sure I got these right. And again, this goes back to, how many agents should you have? This looks like a lot of agents. Maybe it's too many, but it's so modular. Every single part has its own agent. So I have this agent here that creates the key takeaways with an intro in the key takeaway, so it didn't just list a bunch of bullet points, and then an outro of that section of key takeaways leading to the main body, or leading to the introduction. So then I have here is a introduction agent, so it's going to write the introduction. And now we're getting to the meat of the article. We're going to create an outline. So I have an agent that actually takes all of this data, so it's using the persona, the tone of voice, the writing style, all of that, the title, the key takeaways, the introduction, to create an outline. So each step builds on the previous step. So here we're creating an outline, and now this is the second part of really using AI in a way that I think it's the most helpful. And as I mentioned, when you try to write a prompt for a local business, it's a different prompt than one for a global business. Again, I'll use my example. If you have an automation agency, the type of blogs that or videos or whatever kind of content you're creating are different than if you're a plumber in Nashville or a ski shop in Colorado. So this agent is probably the most important one. It creates the prompt for the article. So again, it's taking in the guidelines, title, takeaways, introduction, all of it, and creating the prompt. That prompt is passed to the main body, article writer. So this AI agent takes the prompt and writes the article. And that's working pretty well. And again, this is allowing me to use this workflow for a number of, or for just about any kind of content. Following on the main body, the next part, of course, would be a conclusion. So I have an agent that writes the conclusion. And then we've been building things piece by piece. I have an article assembly agent that takes it all. So title, key takeaways, introduction, main body, conclusion, all of it, and assembles it into one cohesive article. And then here is another great use of AI. I have a final editor and quality check. So this editor takes the entire article and goes through it line by line, looking for sentence transitions, grammar. Did it use case studies? Does it stay on topic? So it just goes through the whole article and does a quality check, and then rewrites the parts that need rewriting. And you might find this interesting. I asked, again, I use the OpenAI model in the workflow. I used ChatGPT to work on all these prompts. I asked it to create a final editor and quality check prompt that would take the article and turn it into a 9.5 out of 10 scored article. And interestingly, it did it. And it also was not hesitant to say this is an 8.3. So I don't know what scale it was using in its little AI mind, but I guess I would say it was reasonably objective, but at least it was a some sort of metric to use. So this art, and I'm going to get into the prompts on a couple of these in a moment, but this one is taking the final article, going through it one more time, doing a quality check on it, and then we're just going to take and create a folder in Google Drive, create a document with the file type, with the file name being the title of the article. It's also the name of the folder. Add the article to it. I also went ahead and added AI to write a meta description and an image prompt. Those are a little outside of the kind of main focus of this workflow and video, but they're also required to publish an article. So if you were going to WordPress, you literally could press get the air trigger to trigger and end up with a published article on your website. So it's a fully automated system. So that's the workflow. So I just want to take a moment and ask that if you are finding value in this video, to please subscribe, give it a thumbs up, give it a like, whatever YouTube likes you to do. It really helps me out and helps me sort of understand what kind of content to create. And also, if you are interested in this and you need a workflow but you don't want to try to figure out how to do this yourself, please reach out to me. There'll be a link in the description. I'd love to work with you on a project. I want to show you the change I made from Google Sheets to Airtable. If you looked at my other workflow, you know that I had a Google Sheet with all of these various tabs, master keyword variations, primary keywords, all of these. And that was filled in. I'll just, hopefully there's some here. Here is a search where my primary keyword was AI automation, and I have 111 different types of keywords that go with it. So related keywords, suggestions, that kind of thing. The second workflow that I have takes this data and generates keyword categories. So now we've taken a category or taken each keyword and assigned a category to it, and then, and it's easier to look at the categories in the way I'm about to show you, then the workflow, that other one, takes the keywords and the category and generates specific ideas that you can use to create content. So that is what this looks like. So just taking a look at the different categories, we have authority builders, which are articles that you're probably not going to rank on because they're already covered by, you know, a high-ranking domain site or something. But it's not saying you shouldn't do them, because you can use them for creating other content and giving your own self-authority. But I have authority builders, emerging topics, intent signals, quick wins, one of my favorites. So you can see there's quite all of my keywords that I showed you from the master keywords variations. So all of those keywords are here, and let's say that I want to focus on things that are emerging topics, which what that means is my other workflow, I used an AI agent to analyze keyword data and to make an educated forecast of potential keywords and topics that will emerge as highly searched topics. So that's what these topics are these titles. And what I've done here, and the reason I switched to Airtable is it's a little bit easier to write triggers and have things happen in Airtable than Google Sheets. And that's the primary reason I did that. But let's say that we want to, and by the way, let me back up one second. Not every one of these are articles that you would want to create, especially these emerging topics. You know, these are guesses that the AI has made. It's given us a title and a description and a reason that you might want to go for writing that article. But some of them you won't, and there is some human intervention here, or human involvement, and you'll have to take a look through these and decide which ones you want to write about. But let's take this one, unlocking the potential of AI automation agents. So all I'm going to do here is change my not started to keep, and that's going to put it over here in the article writer, and you can see it now. So what happens is I change from keep to write article, and that's what triggers the workflow. So let me just show you real quick. This is my Google Drive folder where I have all these blog post articles that I've been working on, and you can see here these are the 1, 2, 3, 4 that I have already created. And when we get to the end of this workflow, you'll see there'll be 5. There'll be a new folder with the title of the article as the file name, and inside that will be a Google Doc with that file. So back we go here. I haven't actually activated this, so we're just going to be testing the workflow. So I'm going to put it into test, and it's now waiting for the trigger. Change to write article. We'll go back, and there we go. You can see it. So now it's going through writing the guidelines, looking for the hidden insights. So it went through the guidelines, did a new title. It's creating the key takeaways now. It's creating the introduction, creating the outline. And again, all along it's taking all of this stuff into account. So creating the main body prompt. This is going to be one of the longer interactions here. And then, so once it creates the main body prompt, and what I'm going to do in a moment is show you the results of a couple of these modules. But once it writes that, it's going to go to the write main body agent, which we'll see that here in just a second. Okay, so now it's here writing the article. Okay, so it wrote it. It's written the conclusion. Now it's putting the article together, so all the different parts of it. It's about to send that to the final editor and quality check. Okay, so now it's performing the final quality check. I'll just tell you, throughout all of this, a couple of the prompts were hardest to get, and this was one of them because ChatGPT, as I kept giving it the result of the article, so I gave it the article that was written, it kept saying that the transition from one section to another or from one sentence to another wasn't great and it could be improved. And so I went back and forth with it a lot to get that to work. Could it be improved more? Probably. But I think it got, like I said, I instructed it to get it to 9.5 out of 10, and it says it does that. Now I don't know if this article would rate that, but you'll have the workflow and you can do that kind of testing yourself. So it did make it all the way through. I'll show you here in a moment the Google Drive folder and the document. Just making sure it all made it. Yep. So here we are. If you'll recall, there were 4 of these, and now there's this one, AI automation agents transforming workflows and digital strategies, just now created by me. So now here is the article itself. I'm going to click on it, and you're going to see something that I can't stand and I don't know how to fix at the moment. When you write from n8n into Google Docs, I don't know how to do it to keep formatting. So what I've done is just kept it all in Markdown. I select it all and copy it, delete it, and paste it back in for Markdown. And I hope somebody out there can tell me a better way to do that. I know there is. I've looked into making it, write it in as HTML, and it just looked harder than I wanted to deal with. So anyway, here's the article, key takeaways. I can see one thing that's missing here because I asked it to always include a paragraph at the beginning of the key takeaways. So it would be like right here, and it would be some introductory thing, paragraph to introduce the key takeaways instead of sort of this blunt, here they are. So that got lost somewhere. I thought I fixed that, but apparently not. But anyway, here's the introduction, and then now it's moving into the body. So these are the, the different sections. This is an H2. This is an H3 with bullet points. Another H3. So you can see it's organized really well for content creation and readability on the internet. We have a ordered list here, a lot of unordered lists, a lot of bullet points, a lot of short paragraphs. All of that is in the prompts, and it's doing a pretty good job. And you can see here it's a fairly long article. Let's check how long is it. Word count 1,600 words, so that's not too bad. That does include my meta description and image prompt, so a little under 1,600 words. And speaking of those, here's the meta description. So when you were sending it to WordPress or Webflow or wherever you're sending it, if it has a meta description field in your CRM, you can put the meta description in it. The image prompt, I use Midjourney for the most part. I haven't tried to integrate that into n8n yet. I don't think it does it very well. I also find that with image generation, I don't think you can trust the image that you're going to get, so I almost feel you need to do that. You can get the AI to write a prompt and then put it in manually until you get the right image. Anyway, that is the article. So I think that came out pretty well. And now I want to go back to the agent itself and take a look at something a little closer. This dynamic writing guidelines and hidden insights. So I blew up, oh, that's the wrong thing. I blew that up here. So here's the prompt. And I'm not going to read the whole thing, of course, but what I'm trying to do is get search intent detection. So it's going and using Tavily to get relevant top search results, and now it's asking it to determine, here it's asking to decide if the primary intent of the primary keyword is informational, transactional, navigational, commercial, which are standard search intent. But then, and this is different, the writing style and tone. So many companies will have their sort of corporate or brand guidelines that say, here's my writing style and here's my tone. And that's great. But there's a lot of companies who have no idea what that is. And so I decided to add this sort of AI insight agent to pull that out of the current best articles. So if they're all written with an informative educational tone, this new article will be written with that same kind of tone and style. So I'm using the agent to pull that data or pull that information for writing style guidelines out of the top search results for your keyword. And here's the other one that I think is really interesting, is the hidden insight extraction. So here I've asked it to analyze patterns and competitor content to Here I've asked it to analyze patterns and competitive content to identify an insight that is not immediately obvious. And so here it says, or if no meaningful insight is found, don't make one up, just forget it. And I'll show you an example of that in just a second. So that was the third part of this prompt. Now I'm telling it to look for semantic analysis, so extract common subtopics and identify related questions. And then for keywords, we have the main primary keyword, which is one we gave it, but what are the secondary keywords? What are the semantic keywords? What are the long tail keywords? Those are all pulled out and used throughout the workflow. And this is the output. And I just want to quickly show you this one thing. Hidden insight. So while most content focuses on the technical capabilities of agentic AI, there's an unexplored opportunity in highlighting how it serves as a bridge between traditional RPA and advanced AI. So you could take this insight, I believe, and just write content about that. You could just you could take this workflow and customize it to just write hidden insights. If you don't want to do that, but you want to differentiate your content from the other top articles, you can just include it in there. But I think this is where we really get into using AI to do stuff that we can't do, at least I can't do. So there's that. I think I mentioned that this agent develops a target audience for the same reason that I talked about the writing style. Many companies have a target customer persona, many don't. Whether they do or not, they may not actually have the right one. So I just said, take these top articles and figure out who is the target audience that you should be writing for when you're writing about this topic. So that's what that is. And then what's the goal of the article? Another pretty important point. Semantic analysis. So these are some examples of common subtopics that it generated. Here's some keywords, primary keywords, all of that. So that's what this one module did. This one AI agent was write all of that stuff that I just showed you. Okay, so I also want to go over this part of the workflow. As I mentioned, this create the main body prompt is the main thing here. It's creating the prompt just for the main body section, so it's not touching the title, the conclusion, the key takeaways, none of that. It's just for the main section of the article. And I thought I would show you the prompt. I've put it here to hopefully make it a little easier to see than it would have been inside of n8n. But you can see this is your role and task. You're an AI prompt engineering specialist, expertise in creating structured SEO optimized and adaptable writing prompts. And I will tell you, it was sometimes hard to keep ChatGPT that wrote this prompt on track, because it kept writing the prompt to tell the agent to write the article and not just the prompt. So I had to be careful there. But anyway, it did work. Your job is to create a concise yet effective prompt that will guide an AI writing agent in producing a high-quality, well-structured article based on the provided inputs. And the provided inputs are the title, the keywords, long tail, the keyword insights, the hidden insights. All of the data that I've been talking about are all provided to every agent throughout this workflow to keep that consistent. So you'll have the workflow, and I'll let you read through the prompt, but this quickly, it's guiding the agent to write the main body sections, as I mentioned. It's encouraging informative, engaging, well-structured writing, incorporate the best SEO practices. And if you had a particular way that you liked it to write, if you wanted it to have 4 H2s and 3 H3s per section, you could put that in here and get it to write the prompt using that. So it's pretty flexible. I have an example of inputs and outputs in the prompt, so that's to help the AI know what to write and give it an example of it. And then here's the prompt itself. So this is fed to the next agent. Write a detailed, SEO optimized, and authoritative article body that incorporates or that educates enterprise leaders on the transformative potential of agentic AI automation. And you can read the rest. But this is the actual prompt. You can see here it covers the target audience. It tells it how to use the outline to expand on each section, optimize for SEO with primary, secondary, and semantic keywords, and use long tail keywords, all of that. Maintain a formal, data-driven, and authoritative tone. So that's from the articles earlier when I did the first agent that created the article writing style. That's where this came from. Focus on semantic insights and related questions. So now it's telling it to sprinkle those semantic keywords, insights, and related questions into the article. Provide actionable recommendations, practical applications, format for clarity, integrate hidden insight as a core argument. And this was interesting because not all topics are going to have an hidden insight. I don't know whether fishing or golf, I used to play golf, I'll use that. I don't know whether you would find a hidden insight about golf, but if you're writing content about AI, there's probably a lot of hidden insight because there's probably a lot of stuff that hasn't been covered yet. So this is telling it to integrate the hidden insight, whereas if it wasn't relevant to that topic, it would not include that. No introduction or conclusion. As I mentioned, it's just for that main body. So here's the final. Let me show you where we are. This is this final edit agent. So it is taking the whole article, which just got assembled, and performing a final check. And here you are an SEO optimized content final editor. Your task is to enhance and expand the article to near perfect quality, 9.5 out of 10. What I found throughout making these type of content writers is that when you include a final editor, it tends to cut, not expand, and I tend to want it to expand and not cut. So I actually have a specific instruction about that. And then here, as I mentioned, ChatGPT kept saying that the improvement that could be made was to strengthen the section transitions for seamless flow. And so that here, that is the prompt here to help that. So again, this agent is reading through the content, checking for this stuff, and then rewriting it to make it better. Diversify real-world applications. This would be more applicable to AI, probably less applicable to some other topics. It'd be interesting to know, because I haven't tested every topic in the world, how well the prompts are working for other sort of less technical topics. But anyway, again, this is another instruction for the final editor. Strengthen conclusion. One thing that at ChatGPT kept coming back saying the conclusion could be better, so it's written that into this final editor to strengthen the conclusion. And then another reminder, expand instead of reduce content. I don't want it in there if it's not good, if it's redundant, but I don't want it cut just for cutting's sake. So my intention was to try to get in the neighborhood of 1,500 to 2,000 word articles, and that in general is what it's doing. Okay, so that was that part of it. And then again, we went through that. I showed you the final article, which is here. One thing I did not show you is in the end, sorry to bounce around here, after the image prompt is written, that gets added to the Google Doc, which I had showed you. But the next part of this is in the Airtable table. I'm taking the URL link, the shareable URL link to the document, and putting it into Airtable. So if you had a client and they were using this, or maybe you're doing it for them, the URL to the document itself is here. So if I click on it, there's the article which we had looked at. Okay, so that wraps this up. It's taken a little while to get through it, but I hope that it was helpful. I'm going to make this available so you can dig in yourself. I didn't go through every bit of how to do a webhook and all of that kind of stuff, or how to set up credentials. If you have questions about that, you can leave them in the comments. But I just wanted to focus on really how the workflow worked. So thank you very much for watching. Again, please like and subscribe. And if you're interested in working together, there'll be a link down in the description where you can set up a discovery call, and I'd love to talk to you. Thank you. Bye-bye.